I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction. Here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 28th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price for a generic Draxxin that works, guys. That's the end of the story. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, with no Monday sales, we're expecting the Tuesday sales to be higher yet again because we had nothing but bullish news there late last week and nothing to kill it over the weekend. But Beaver County is going to have about 3,500 for the regular Tuesday sale, looking at 400 to 500 calves. Lane Conkle said only about half of them were going to be weaned. He was going to have some pretty good sized consignment of some fresh calves right off the cow come in, really top quality kind. Then they'll have about 2,500 yearlings, most of them selling in load lots. About 900 heifers. The loads will be weighing from 600 to 800 pounds mostly. About 1,500 yearlings, steers, and they're weighing from 7 to 11, but heavy on the 900 and 1,000 pound yearling steers, and they will be in loads, guys, including one deal of 214 really top quality all black yearling steers there with Gardner genetics. So don't miss out on those. Be a handful of mixed yearlings, and then just a regular cow sale to follow. But one thing we want to note with Beaver County Stockyards, they are starting at 7 a.m. here today on Tuesday, and they will start at 7 a.m. all summer. They like to get in there and get that stuff done, and maybe get done before it gets real hot later on in the day, guys. But they'll be selling a few odd cattle and calves mostly to start out. They won't get on those loads of yearlings till at least 8:30 or maybe a little later than that. But bullish neutral, the cattle and feed report. You say, how do you call it bullish neutral? Well, we talked about how bullish the estimates were from the analysts that put those out. The average of the analyst guess was so bullish, it was just hard to imagine having a cattle and feed report that would come out good enough to be neutral. Well, indeed we did, and I mean it was really notched. As far as the cattle and feed, the inventory for May 1st, the average of the analyst guess was 99.1. It come out to be 99.1, just perfect. And then but then the other figures were just a little bit on the bullish side. How your inventory number was pegged whenever the other ones were off just a little bit to the bullish side, I don't really know. But your placements for April come in at 94.2, so that's on the lighter side, and the average of the analyst guess was 94.4, so a little bit bullish there, not a whole lot, but the marketings is what's unbelievable to me and really inexplicable. I don't know how you can explain that to me, because it just doesn't make sense in my mind that we could have marketings that come in at 110.1% of a year ago, and then your average analyst guess though was 109.8. So they were saying that, and they kept saying, well, we have 2 more days. We had 2 more days for slaughter. Well, you figure business days, you're in your short 20s there, 20 days a month, and if you had 2 more days, that might be 10%. But every single day and every single week, our slaughter has been lighter than a year ago. So how does that measure up to be over 10% more marketings than the same time a year ago? It doesn't make sense to me. But the heck of it is, it doesn't really matter, because the NASA's cattle and feed report, it's not right. It's just an estimate, and it's an estimate that nobody can really check. The models that they use are really old. Nobody that I know ever takes any kind of a poll on it. We're not sure where they get the numbers at. Nobody's ever going to check the numbers, so it really doesn't matter. And you know, like I've said many times, I worked for the USDA long enough to know it may not be right, but it's official. So by God, that's the cattle and feed report, and it come out bullish neutral. And so that's as good as we're going to get. And when we're sitting here at all-time record high prices for all classes of cattle now, we are going to break the record for the highest fat cattle ever. So we didn't know. I didn't think we would quite break it on the live side, on the live weighted average in the 5 area, and that's what I'm going to call your highest price. Would be the 5 area feeding region weighted averages on live and dressed. I didn't think we would break the live, but we are. We are going to. They sold significantly more cattle in the northern plains like they normally do, but enough to overshadow the discount that the southern plains is at right now. And so we are going to pass that weighted average, and we're going to pass it pretty well. And we're going to pass it on your dressed too. So that'll be interesting to see how the industry takes that. And it's always scary when we get up here on top of these pedestals, because it seems like it doesn't take a whole lot to knock us off of that. But indeed, you're going to hear that all-time record high fed cattle prices. Of course, we got all-time record highs scattered around about and scattered in different areas on your yearlings and your calves, and then we're easily all-time record high prices on fats or on bulls, slaughter bulls and slaughter cows. So you know, we're sitting up here pretty high and mighty right now, and then have a bullish neutral cattle on feed report, and so I don't see what's going to stop it. It'll be something come out of left field. It'll be a black swan of some kind, but we're just going to let the good times roll here while we can. Let's talk about your board last week. June live cattle futures. Monday was up 42 cents. Tuesday was up $1.50. Wednesday was up $1.20. Thursday was off 65 cents, but then Friday back up 17 cents is all. But June live cattle ended the week at 183.70. That was up 265 for the week. August ended the week up 207 at 181.12. Your feeder cattle, now our May went off the board at 250.14, which is exactly what your CME cash feeder cattle index was, which I tell you, they will always meet up at the end of the current month there. And makes you wonder if we knew we were going to have a reliable fat cattle market, maybe we could go to cash settlement on the live cattle, because we have this delivery process that doesn't really work. We always said, well, it gives you the threat, but it's all for the shorts. It's not for the longs. You can't demand delivery, which is what we should be able to do. If they won't fix the delivery process, maybe we could decide upon what market to do a cash settlement on, and it would be a little bit more trustworthy there. But May ended right where it should, even up with CME cash feeder cattle index, the latest that came out. August feeder cattle, Monday was down $1.37. Tuesday was up $1.35. That's a wash. Wednesday was up $3.07. Thursday down $1.45, and Friday down $1.22. So we were up and down, up and down. August feeder cattle ended the week at $260.22. That was up 37 cents for the week. That is about over $8 higher than where we're at right now. So I guess we're just going to keep going on the incline here if the futures have anything to say about it. September feeder cattle ended the week at $261.75. Now we did this right in the face of higher grains. Corn, July corn ended the week at $464 3/4. That was up 12 1/4 cents a bushel. Soybeans ended the week at $12.48, which was up 20. Kansas City hard red winter wheat ended the week at $7.21 1/4. That was up 59.5 cents a bushel. Big gains there on hard red winter wheat. Let's talk about your fat cattle market. Like I said, highest it's ever been in a negotiated basis. Through Thursday, we sold 49,500 cattle negotiated in the 5 area. Your fat steers and heifers sold live from 187 to 193.50. That was $2.50 to $3 higher. The weighted average was 190.12 up through Thursday. That was roughly $1.50 higher than the previous week and broke the all-time record of 189.50. So, it may come back from that a little bit if they traded a little bit more cattle in the southern plains late on Friday, but I don't think it's going to be enough to pull that weighted average down as much as it would take not to break the record. But dress sales easily broke the record, with fat steers and heifers selling dressed from $3 to $3.05, roughly steady to $5 higher. Weighted average was $303.48. That was nearly $4 higher than the previous week, and a couple bucks higher, or $1.50 higher than your all-time record dressed steer price at $301.97. So I mean, we just blew by it. I don't even think those records knew we went by. We drove around and went by so fast. On Friday, we sold a little bit more cattle. Iowa sold 1,700, 14,300 for the week, which is light for them. 190 to 192 on Friday, $3 to $302 dressed. Nebraska sold just 700, 21,400 for the week. Live price 192, dress price 304. And Kansas sold 1,200 on Friday, 11,300 for the week, 187 with some 188. We continue to see more and more every week that we're selling a few Kansas cattle more in line with the northern plains than the southern plains. Normally they were all the same, but we got some 188 in Kansas. Of course, down in Texas it was all 187 on just 140 head on Friday, but 6,400 for the week. We'll see if they traded any more cattle late on Friday, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot. Box beef cutout values were higher, not zooming higher like they were here the last couple of weeks, but higher, as a result anyway. Your weighted average on choice cuts last week, for all of last week, 311.64. That was up 490 on the weighted average compared to the previous week's weighted average. And your late Friday sales were a little bit under that, about $1 under that weighted average at 310.45. Your weighted average on all of select cuts last week, $300.32. That was up $6.48. And your late Friday sales were up maybe another $1.50 beyond that. So good demand for the select, because there's no select. 84.5% of our cattle great choice and higher. So there's a lot of places that feature select meat. I've told you before, I don't believe that. I don't know how in 15 years we went from having a lot less. And even in the northern plains, the best they ever thought they would have was 65% choice or better, and now it's 84.5 in the whole country. Give me a break. It's all about the instrument grading, guys. And I don't know if they're ever going to address that or just keep pretending and abusing the consumers because they're paying for something that they're not getting and they don't know the difference. Of course, if they had windows we could peek in those packing plants, we would all feel a little bit better about how everybody's getting screwed inside those plants, because they don't have a window that we can peek into and see what's going on. But that choice select weighted average spread, $11.32. All that based on 571 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter ended up above 600,000, but not a lot. 607,000. It's 9,000 better than the disappointing week the previous week. 18,000 less than the same week a year ago. And that's been going on week after week after week, and somehow we marketed 10% more. I don't understand it. But talk about what else is going on. Stay Tough Fencing. Stay Tough Fence offers a broad variety of net wire fence designs and profiles, as well as barbed wire to cover all your containment and exclusion needs. Stay strong, stay tight, stay tough with Stay Tough Fencing. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction ended the week at 251.92. That was up $7.95 for the week. That's your cash index, and it's the 7-day moving average. Gained almost $8 in a week, guys. Very impressive. Like I said, CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index, latest available was 250.14. It's dragging a little bit behind. But your trends in your auctions last week were pretty much all $5 to $10 higher for all classes. Calves too, even soft calves. I mean, I know it's hot, but people just want to get their hands on cattle. They're a whole lot easier to sell than they are to buy. And just anything that is bringing big money. The full advance on that 5 to 10 higher was really noted on heifers, loads of yearling heifers, and that's just because these prices per head are scaring people. It's a little bit cheaper on a heifer, makes them feel a little bit better about themselves, so they've gone after the heifers a little bit more than the steers on raising the price. But that 5 to 10 higher goes right along with that real-time index being 795 higher for the week. Big sales late last week before the holiday weekend. Fort Pierce, South Dakota, Fort Pierce Livestock Auction had 5,850 on Friday. And it had a similar trend to what I call the weekly trend. It was a little lit up and down here, but ranged up to 10 or maybe $12 higher in some spots. Sold everything really well, especially replacement heifers. They sold this one group of replacement heifers, 76 head, weighed 750 pounds, and bring 291. Wow, that's beyond steer price. Some other individual quotes from around. How about Mankato Livestock, Mankato, Kansas? They sell 59 steers, weighed 901 at 247.20. My buddy down Tato Medina Wallace at Santa Teresa, New Mexico, selling Mexican calves coming across into the United States. He sells 56 little peewee steers, weighed 357 and bring 348 on Friday. But the most impressive quote that I saw late last week or over the weekend was indeed out of Fort Pierce Livestock Auction, Fort Pierce, South Dakota. It was some lighter steer calves. Was your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day. 84 steer calves weigh 562 and bring 360, 250. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.